Welcome back to another episode of A Record of My Father. Today we're going to be talking about cars because that's pretty prevalent in my life right now. I got a slow leak on the front left that I need to refill every 3 months, and people keep asking me. They keep saying, "Oh, why don't you just buy a new tire?" I'm like, well, but if I need to refill it every 3 months, I don't really need to replace it, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you have like the high end tires, like $500 a piece. So
Yeah, it's
for you
ridiculous.
to for you to spend 10 minutes every 3 months just putting a little air in it, I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, I mean, screw that. I would do that when I was 16 till I was like 40.
that's what I've decided on my
Yeah, I'd be like, from
myself.
now on, I'm just gonna fill it up. But your car's got a lot of miles on it, or it's how long you had it? 20
2016.
2016. You got it. Was your first car, a Honda Accord. The base model, except for it has really expensive tires.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, and you put
That's very true.
How many miles?
86,500 or something like that.
Yeah, and you didn't
Basic.
drive your car around the country.
No, no, I didn't. That
You
was
put like
just
that was what, like 8,000 miles? Oh my
what
God,
when
we
we
drove
drove from
around.
Arizona all through America,
Yeah, we
up
did
into
that.
Canada, across from Canada
Yeah,
to Maine, and then down from Maine
yeah.
to Virginia. It
But
was
Accords go for
22
like,
days.
yeah, but
22,
they
22 days. It was way too fast. Oh my
your
gosh.
car runs forever. I mean, I look back to my first car, and that's how I got my nickname, Down 450. Uh, well, this is very weird. It's a weird story because I had a certificate of deposit back then. I used to put my money in CDs, and I'd saved it up, and I put $2,000 in, and the interest rate was about 5% or 4%, something like this. I'd save that kind of money, and you can't withdraw it, and that's the reason I would put my money in certificate of deposits. I was 16 and a little bit, and I needed a car because I wanted to, get high, hook up with chicks, whatever, go to work, that
As
kind of
one
stuff,
does.
and not beg for the right to borrow the parents' car to go, because they had two cars. And so, and my mother said, no, we're not going to cash that in, because I found a Malibu that I thought was really cool. I wanted to buy it. It was $2,000, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that. And no. So I had saved, separate from my CD, $600, or I had more than that, something, or five something or whatever, in my bank account. So I had $400, and I looked and I saw a Buick Special 1968 350 engine for sale for
Ooh.
$400. Well, yeah, you got it. It was the beginning of every used car I ever bought. They saw me coming. They knew I knew nothing. They sold me the car. I was 16 years old. I paid the guy $400 cash. I drive away with it. It was cool. It burned rubber from a standstill. It would fly. Uh, the paint was peeling on the left door. There was all sorts of problems. It had tire problems, muffler problems, dog. I mean, I ended up spending probably a grand or two on it. But when I bought it, the my I used to go to my brother's school. He went to Mary Washington College, and I was in, you know, high school, but I was somewhat of a degenerate. So my parents used to send me down there to hang out with him, to get exposed to the college life, and maybe I would want to go to college instead of being a drug addict or whatever the heck I was going to be. I was rising up the drug ladder, or gangster, or whatever the fuck, who knows. Anyway,
Gangster. Ooh, I've never heard
yeah,
of
well,
that.
I mean, I was arrested for concealed weapon, and I had a bunch of little, all sorts of little things that were felonies that, were,
Little felonies here and there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Trump was nothing on me. Anyway, anyway, I that was when I went to the track with the guys, and I had $50, and I forgot. I think I had 450 or four. Or I had a bunch of money. I went down there, and I went to the track the first time when I was like 16, something like that. I went to Mary Washington College. My brother took the car, left, and then I went off with the with the guys there, and we went to Charlestown. And I had my money. Actually, I had the $400 then, and or 450 then, and I went to the track and I started betting. And by the seventh race, I had about 900. First time ever I gambled. Never had gambled before. Uh, but I was betting on horses. And now remember, minimum wage for me was about I think it was $1.35 then. So $400 saved after tax was roughly 400 hours of work. And you figure, okay, how many, you know, and I probably worked 20 hours a week. So let's just do a little math here to give you a sense of uh clear 400 divided by 20 is 20 weeks. So that was probably, and I didn't work every week, and so that was probably a year's worth of savings that I had. So a year's worth of
Jeez.
work where I made the money and took it to the track, and I doubled and a half it in an hour. I was like 900 and something, and I was just gassed.
Made you think you could do that for a full-time job?
Well, immediately. And then I was like, I wanted the 400 was the down payment. I remember I don't know if I told the story about the Malibu earlier. I wanted to buy a car and I saw a Malibu was 2000. My mom said, no, I should buy the $400 car. Well, what I had the 400 to pay for the car, but I was like, well, screw that. This could be instead of a down, I was going to trick her and do a down payment on the Malibu. Well, why would I do a down payment when I can just pay cash for everything?
Exactly.
And that was it, like sixth race, seventh race, eighth race, and there were 13 races. And I started betting $200. When I was 16, I was putting $200 on horses. I mean, what? Well, there's no restraint. I mean, I doubled and a half my money, and now all of a sudden, if I double it one more time, then I have a Malibu paid for. Instead of waiting 4 years, I get it right now, right? So instant gratification.
Sounds great to me. Sounds like a good plan.
It was an amazing plan. But by the
Exactly.
12th race, I could not put a $2 get bet together. I lost
It was
it all.
brutal.
I lost it. I
That's
lost
brutal.
it all. And I had like $1.78, and I borrowed like 30 cents from Mitch, who was there, and he was just like shaking his head, just, oh man. And then I went, and then I bought I bought the car, and that's when he said, oh my God, we're gonna. And then the next time I went down to the college when I met him, and I had the $400 car, like, oh my God, it's down 450. And so that was my nickname, because I lost 450 at the track, or it was something like that. But
How
it was
long did that
like,
last? How long did that nickname last?
If you mention it today, he would know it. And
Okay.
a number of the people that were there that named me that are dead. So that's how long I've had it. And they still, if you said,
Quite a while.
if you said, Mitch, what does down 450 mean? What does 450 mean to you? He go, down 450. That's Phil Brown. That day at the track. And he would talk about the day of the track and all that kind of stuff like that. And oh my God.
I didn't realize your brother met Mitch in college. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Mitch is like just a wonderful person.
Oh, he's fantastic.
So like, his body shape changes like every 5 years from very large to very small to very, I mean, just, wow. But also, like, I don't know why that brought that up. That's silly.
That's so strange.
But I just remember see, the thing is,
strange.
when I first met him, he
Thing to
was a
bring
small
up.
guy, but then near the end of college, he was a big guy. And I remember that when I'd go to the parties when I was 17, he was like really heavy, and he was dating this really tiny girl. So it was very juxtaposition. It was very different to just go like, well, how do things work?
Seeing
But
people
anyway,
change. I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Over time, seeing
yeah.
people change.
But it was just like, it was comical.
What
down
happened at the
450.
time that you and mom checked out the rusted out what was it? It's like a big fish car on the way to see
Oh
Granddad,
yeah,
right?
we were going to Rehoboth. We were driving, and we were St. Mary's County, driving through, or maybe we are going to her father's before, when he was alive. And we're going down the road, and I had some big bonus from work and all that, and so I had a bunch of money, and I always had this thing that I'm supposed to piss it away on something stupid. And we were financially sound, and we didn't have any problems with anything. And I see this Cadillac. It was pearl white. It had the big rear fins, the giant, it was convertible. Oh my God. You could have fit 8 people in the front seat. It was just, you slide all the way. You could lay down in the front seat.
They had in the seatbelts too, right?
No, yeah, it had seatbelts. I
Oh,
don't
it
know
did have seatbelts.
I think you tied them. Anyway, it had a big, huge back seat, huge trunk. Oh my God. It's the kind of car that you used to get. You wouldn't know about drive-in movies, but that's where you smuggle everybody in. But they wanted like 5 or 6 grand for it. I'm like, I want that car. I want that car. I want that car. And she's like, yeah, let's buy it. I said, but we should go take it to a dealer and see go take it to the thing. And I talked to the people because we drove it and it was like, you drive it like this because there's so much swing in the
There's
wheel.
no
But I
power
didn't give a
steering too,
shit.
probably.
Well, it's power steering, but it's
Oh, there's
very,
power
very
steering.
loose power steering because this is just to keep it going straight. This is not turning. To turn, you got to go. And that's how you turn, old people
Gotcha.
style. But anyway, I took it in, they raised it up on the rack, and the whole thing underneath is just, it's been spray painted over the rust. And he
Ooh.
like touches the paint and he goes, see, if I push this hard, he said, this whole wheel well is going to fall out. He said, all of your ball joints are, they're rusted. That's rusted. He said, this thing's been he said, it only had like 80,000 miles. He said, it may have had 80,000 miles, but it's been sitting in a field outside for 30 years and just falling apart.
Did they give
Yeah.
you a quote for the repairs?
Well, once he said this, I was just like, no. Because see, I've had cars that have broken down on me all my life. And then once my goal in life was to get enough money so that cars, if they break down, I'm leaving the bitch. I'm going to get a new one. I'm not going to do that anymore because I have walked more from walking from a broken car. I had a Pinto runabout that cost me thousands and thousands. That car, the Buick Special cost me thousands. The car after that, until I got a Hyundai, and then the Hyundai broke twice, and then I got rid of it. And then by that time I was getting married, so the wife has much better picks at quality cars than I do. I always pick pieces of shit, and then I run over stuff, and I'm very non-mechanical. If you say, oh, you could just do this and fix your brakes or whatever, I'm like, no, don't.
Well, you told me about the one time that guy who had an angled driveway was changing his oil.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you told me about that. And ever since then, I will spend the $50 that it takes to change my
Because
oil.
he was using drive up ramp, and the car came backwards, and it pinned him against the what was it? It pinned him against the garage door,
Mm.
and it cut the oxygen off. And they ran, and they ended up with axes and cut the garage door out around him so they could get him loose.
That's
But he
a
was without
long
oxygen
time.
he was without oxygen for like 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and he was brain damaged. He was okay. He could talk after that and everything, but he was like, I remember one time I went to his house. My mother was going for something because, and he's going, wait till Jesse comes home. And that was his wife. No, I can't answer the door. I'm not allowed to. And he's sitting inside, and he can see him, but he can't come to the door because he's like,
Ooh,
yeah, just
scary.
and he's a really bright, fun person. And then, I mean, I don't know, maybe he did some karma thing that was horrible and that was payback or whatever. But wow,
I don't know if karma
that was very
exists.
sad.
I don't
That
know
was
if
very
that.
sad. That was very
Yeah,
sad.
that
Just
is really
sad.
sad.
But
But that's why I pay for an oil change every time.
yeah. And well, me, I put in a thermostat backwards, the thing that heats the thing. I put it in backwards. I'm
In a
always the
car?
guy. Yeah, everything I do wrong. And it's like I'm the guy that, I tried to do the oil. I tried to change the head gasket because my oil gasket was leaking, and I ended up breaking off 2 bolts into the head. So then I had to buy something that allowed me to drill them out, and then I drilled them too far. And I mean, it was just like, just don't. Because everything I did made me purchase another piece of equipment. And every time I bought it, I broke the next thing. And when I broke the next thing, it cost more. So I got to that is when I realized that if my car's broken and someone says, "Oh, all it's missing is this cap, and if you put this cap on the hood and you just throw it on there, it'll work fine," and I'd be like, "I'll hire somebody to do that for me." I wouldn't do it. Why? I barely put gas in my car because I can do that. But no, the thing is like I realized that mechanically, when it comes to a vehicle or any engine, it is so much cheaper for me, and it actually makes me happier to have someone else just take care of it and fix it. If they can fix it, fine. If they can't, throw it away. I'll get a new one.
Well, that reminds
Sad.
me of the Audi that you had a
Yeah.
long time ago. I guess not that long ago. It's like 2015 or something.
Well, that's my last car that I owned. I haven't
Yeah.
owned a car for what, like 5, 6, 7 years? No, I did. I bought
I
the
guess it's
Porsche for a
10
year.
at this point.
Remember that?
Oh yeah, and
I bought the
you didn't really
Porsche.
drive it, right?
I probably put 1,000 miles on it, if that 500, maybe 500 tops. But
It was
I
like in
had
the
it.
summer though.
I had it for a year. I bought it one year.
Oh, it was a year, really?
It was a whole year.
I didn't know
But
it was
it
a year.
was
I thought it
like
was a summer.
I bought it.
Oh.
It was a 2000 Porsche 911. Drove like the wind, but it was old. I mean, everything was old. All the suspension was old. It wasn't as, it wasn't. And I've gotten spoiled because I like all the new electronic stuff, and when the Subaru has better electronic stuff than the actual Porsche, then you're like, well, what the hell? I mean, it's great and it was fast and all that kind of stuff, and I had it for a little while, but it also taught me that I don't want an old car. That was and the thing is, I paid like 20 grand, 24,000 for it, and I sold it for 20. So it cost me $4,000 to buy a Porsche, own it for a year, and then sell it. That's what it cost me, soup to nuts. And as far as lessons go, that is pretty cheap. Because if I buy a brand new Porsche, they're like 250,000. You drive it off the parking lot, it's 210.
Oh, immediately. Same with the
it's
Audi
like,
too.
I had the A8L. That was the giant car. I love that car. It started to have problems. I'd had it for about 60,000 miles, which seems to be the magic.
It was only
point.
60?
Yeah.
Jeez.
But I mean, it would do 130 miles an hour when you're doing 75 or 80, and it would pop to 130 so fast. I remember the passing the 10 cars.
I do remember that. Was
You
it
were in the
10 or
back
was it
seat.
7?
It was 10.
I thought it was 7.
No, it was 10. That
Oh,
was
was
it.
7 your previous record or something like
7
that?
was my previous record.
That's
10 was
why I remember
there,
being 7.
and
Okay.
she was upset.
Yep.
I never got to drive to the beach again with her. Ever
It was
again.
10. It was 10 cars into the blind curve though that I think
Yeah.
that
Well, I
you
made it
negate
to the
remember.
right before the blind curve.
Right before.
So-
I thought it was into the blind curve, if I remember.
No, it wasn't that. I mean, you guys were all freaky just because I was driving pretty fast. And I remember when I pulled out, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're like, there's a car, 7, 8, there's a car. We're coming to a curve. We're coming to a curve. We're coming to a curve. 9, one more. No.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody pass 10 cars.
She hit me in
Yeah,
the chest. She was
she
so
did.
angry. That was the only time she's ever struck me.
Yeah.
And she almost cried. You bastard.
Rightly so. Rightly so.
Yeah.
Though. Oh
Yeah,
my
you were in the
gosh.
back seat going like 10? Because it was 10 cars. And
It was.
one, I mean, you're going this direction. You're going up. It was up like what the heck was it? It was 16. No, it wasn't 16. It was
Whatever the road and the
It was
and the
404.
farm is. Yeah, there
oh
we
my
go.
God. Yeah, it was
With Denton and all those little towns.
It was before Denton, rocking. Mhm.
Yeah, I remember that very clearly.
Yeah.
And I remember too. I'm like, if he hits somebody, then we're gonna die immediately anyway. It doesn't really.
Yeah, what's the
matter.
big deal?
It really wouldn't have mattered.
Well,
And the
I
other people
remember
would have been dust as well.
I remember driving like a Mercedes VW, whatever it was, when I was in Germany. And
On the Autobahn, right?
On the Autobahn. And I had Bob in the front seat. I had Seth in the back seat, and Taylor was in the back seat too. And I'm driving, and I didn't know because it was kilometers per hour. And I go, okay, I'm doing 110. No, I was doing 100. He goes, that's 60 roughly. And I said, okay, I'm doing 120. That's 80 or whatever. Okay, I'm doing 140. He goes, okay, that's like 90. Okay, I'm doing 160. And then he goes, oh, that's like da da da. Okay, I'm doing 180. And he goes, that's like such and such. I say, I'm doing 200. And he goes, like, that's 120. And then I go, okay, I'm doing 220. And then I mean, we are rocking at 220 kilometers. And then I got it up to like 230 something. And I look over and I said, okay, I got 230. And he in the car, Bob, Marine, puts his hand on the dash. Like, that's going to make a difference. And when I saw that, I saw it out of the corner of my eye. It just like made me say, you know, maybe you're going too fast. And
I
then I
wouldn't have put
slowed
my
down.
hands on the dash. I would have just closed my eyes because then you don't know where you are.
Yeah. No,
Right.
it was like because he was like the math guy and it was just so funny.
Mhm.
But we did that's when uh we did Hitler's Nest, Neuenstein Castle. We did like a 400-kilometer trek in one day and saw 1/3 or half of all of Germany, which usually takes like a few days, but we did it quickly. We saw the castle and we saw the Neuenstein Castle was at one corner, and then we went over to Hitler's Nest the other, and we came back up, and we were staying in Munich at the time. That's when we went to Oktoberfest. But I remember that, and that was so freaking crazy.
Is
It was just
Liechtenstein a castle as well? Is that a thing?
well, there's the Liechtenstein, which is a country, but
It's
there
a
is,
country.
it's got you, and you see that cool looking castle, but that cool looking castle is it's the Disney castle. That's where we went
Oh,
to.
that's the Disney. You went to the Disney castle.
We went to the Disney castle.
I didn't realize that castle was
Yeah,
based on something in real life.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
It's called the Neuenstein. Nue whatever. And it's not pronounced that way. That's me pronouncing it bastardization of what the true meaning.
Were you
Whatever it
thinking
is.
what are the German word?
Yeah.
Nice.
Glockenstockel. Farfignugan.
Those sound like more Netherlands
Yeah.
terms.
Yeah. Farfignugan. Well, that's what they used to say when they were selling them. But anyway, back to cars. I mean, I had the runabout. Oh God, that was crazy.
But you're gonna be
And
getting a new car soon, right? Are you?
She's talking about it. We'll see. I mean, we just had all the cars serviced today, and that's why cars came in, and it became really easy. We have a Subaru, a 2018 Subaru, and a 2013 Audi convertible. The Audi convertible is fun to drive. It's old. It doesn't have any of the technology that you have today. The Subaru has got some of the technology, not all of it, but it also doesn't have it doesn't have really good sway bars and stuff like that, but it does have a 6-cylinder engine. So, I want
It's
a bigger
quick.
engine.
It's definitely quick.
Yeah, it's
I'll
much
say
quicker
that.
than a lot of things. I mean, I drive the Audi 100 plus all the time.
You ever think about a Tesla? You ever,
When
ever
she's not there.
cross your
No,
mind?
I don't. I drove in one with Conrad the whole time we were up there, and I love the ride. But when you're driving a Tesla, and I don't know if there's a way to change this, but when you take your foot off the gas, it's like pulling the electric plug out, and just
Oh,
slows
it's
down
abrupt.
immediately. Yeah, but you got to get used to it, and it's like, oh man, this is so weird.
Well, that's
This
why
is
you
so
would just do the driver assist thing,
yeah,
where it just
Uh,
drives for you and you just move the wheel every now and then.
yeah. That's what I would do. I would do something like that.
Because I don't know, it's not completely legal yet to do complete autonomous.
Well,
But
when I had a my old CEO
it's
at the
not
last
autonomous.
company I was at, and he was coming to our house at the beach house in Rehoboth. We had a party, and he was in like just outside of Chicago driving, and it was 10 hours. He got up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Why
He
didn't he
goes out.
fly? Oh, because it's Wilmington, right? You have to fly to
Yeah,
Wilmington,
yeah, yeah. There's no
and there's
easy way
no
to.
way to get
There's
to
no way
Rehoboth
to.
from
Yeah,
Wilmington.
yeah.
Yeah,
It sucks ass. There's no.
there's
big
no
way to
real
do
way
it.
to do it.
That's the problem with a lot of places that you live is like airports. That's what's so cool about here. I got 2 airports within 12 minutes away.
Then you have a third
Any,
one too, BWI.
yeah, that doesn't count. That's 90 minutes. That's not.
Or an
But anyway,
$80 override.
uh, uh, you made me lose my train of thought. Talking about
Tesla, Ohio,
yeah,
Rehoboth
wait,
driving.
he got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He goes and gets in the car. He sets where it needs to go. My house at Rehoboth. It takes them, it drives, it wakes them up when it's exiting the road when it's going 200 miles and it needs to recharge. And then he pulls in, charges it, gets out, goes, gets coffee, comes back, gets in the car when it's done, and then it goes to my house and it exits. And he didn't take the wheel again until it exited and started driving around there. And you're like,
That's
holy
awesome.
crap.
That's awesome. That's pretty awesome.
And he said, and I guess, I was going to say, are you worried? And he's like, well, I went to sleep, so I guess not. You know,
He's such a
I'm
funny
like,
guy.
whoa.
His responses are very,
Yeah.
very like they're just
Yeah.
very spot on with him. It's
Yep.
hilarious.
Yeah. Well, a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
was in
people
an
are,
Uber the other day, and the guy was
yeah.
just no hands on the wheel. Maybe touched it every like 20 minutes.
Was it Tesla?
Oh, yeah, Tesla.
And he
Uh,
just plugged in the thing and just let it go?
yeah, so he's just getting free money if you think about it. Unless the
No.
wear and tear, like I
What do you
don't
think
know.
it costs to
Well,
run a
he gets
Tesla per
life
mile?
life service for free. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
But it
And then
doesn't,
it's like a subscription base for
once again,
the
it's not
electric.
free.
Eh,
You pay
eh,
$80,000 for a car that runs 120,000 miles. So you pay
nah, I think it's
80
longer
cents a
than that,
mile.
right?
What?
It's like 220 or something.
No, it's 120.
It's like 500.
120 is the recommended battery replacement time, so I'm going to go with that.
Oh, battery replacement
Yeah,
overall?
because the battery costs 15,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you don't. So you got that'll last to 120 on the good side. So let's say that you're paying about 75 cents a mile when you drive a Tesla. Okay? Wear,
Yeah.
tear, maybe electricity, throw in another penny or two because it's cheap as shit to buy electricity. But your car is only going to do, I mean, your car, what is it? What did it cost? Cost 27,000,
Yeah.
and it's already got 86,000 miles on it. You could put another 100,000 on that car and and your maintenance costs, I mean, I bet you cost 20 cents a mile.
There's not even a hiccup either after 86. It's crazy. Other
Yeah.
than the slow leak on the tire, there's really nothing going on.
Yeah. Well, that's probably the rim. You probably got a bent rim and
That's exactly what it is.
yeah.
Somebody
And
told
so
me that.
so
Yeah,
that'll be
somebody told
nine
me.
thousand
They said, "Do you
dollars.
want to do another one?" I said, "No. Why would I do another one
Well,
if
it
it's every
didn't
3 months?"
didn't what's his name bend it out once and tell you that that's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said he did, and then it just kept coming back anyway.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
I
you
checked
can't
the
really
Jiffy
tell.
Lube.
Once it's not perfect, it's not perfect.
They said the
I mean,
sensor was messed up too, or something. It might be the No, it's definitely not the sensor because it's losing air. So
yeah.
it's 100% not the sensor.
Yeah.
Because I looked at it the other day and it was very visible.
Well, it'd be interesting if the tire companies decided that they didn't have good revenue and they had a program that would allow people all of their tires to leak 10%. And so you would go buy new tires.
It's kind of what it feels like.
I just thought of that. I thought that's really a stupid conspiracy theory, but I
What is
mean,
that term?
well, I mean,
Planned
planned
obsolescence.
obsolescence.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing with your cell phones when they don't charge and they don't, for some reason, it's like, wow, my cell phone used to charge in the last 4 days. Now it charges, it only lasts two. Why is that? Because you've had it for 4 years and we want you to buy a new one. So we hot load the software to actually burn the battery down.
That
And
happened to
then
me with the what is it? The satellite or whatever in it
Mhm.
before the phone before last wouldn't do maps anymore. And they said I was like, can I replace the piece of the phone that does that? And they said, no, you just gotta buy a new phone.
Right.
I was like, I've had this for 3 years. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Pretty
Well,
ridiculous.
yours my old one?
No. This was the phone before last.
Okay.
I don't remember. It was
Wow, they're all burning them.
something
Well, I think
like
about
I think it was like
cars.
an 8
Back
or
to cars. We
something.
were talking about cars. What other cars? Uh, uh, I mean, I remember my parents' cars. I remember
What do
the
they
old
drive?
Custom. My mother had a Ford Custom. She always bought Fords. We had a Ford station wagon. It was usually station wagons in the 60s. And then she bought a Ford Custom, which had a bigger engine, but it was only a two-door. And then there was a Fury, a Plymouth Fury 3 at a 454 four-barrel.
That'll be the
It
thumbnail.
when you press the gas to the floor, it would be like this. You would go, tch, and this is what would happen. It would literally jerk your head. It was just coolest feeling in the world. And it was a freaking boat. It was you couldn't, you could go out on a date and you could probably not touch her if she stayed against the I remember we
Was
drove it
that
all
too
through.
much space or too little? I don't know.
I don't know.
I
It
don't
could
know.
be good. It could be good if you want to get naked, but it could be bad if she just doesn't want to get near you.
That's
And
fair.
Edwin and I took that to Florida. We drove that car. We drove the piss out of it, and it was just like, wow. No, it was a 327. It wasn't a 454. It was a 327. The 454 was in a different car. That was another buddy of mine's friend. I actually jumped on the hood, and he drove me around and stopped quickly. But that's another story. That's
I
that
knew a
has
guy that in
nothing to do with
high
cars.
school, they didn't drink or smoke or anything. They didn't do any drugs. But what they would do is they would go to an empty parking lot with
Yeah,
their parents' cars or whatever, and one
yeah,
person would hold on to the open moonroof on the top, and
yeah.
then the one driving would try to shake him off. And one kid fell off one time, hit his head on the curb, and yeah, it was bad. But he was fine after. But that's when
Yeah.
their parents figured out what they were doing. They
Yeah.
banned they banned the
Well,
meeting with
I had somebody
the
used to work
flipping
in
the
sales, and
yeah.
he was an old used car sale dealer, and he said, whatever you do, whatever car you buy, never buy a dealer demo. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, because and he was English. He said we would take the dealer demos, that you would take out, and we would race them in the back field, and we would just and literally we would each get in a car, go out there, and we would race them in first gear because who cares? It's not my car. And so then we would sell this car to people as a dealer demo. It only got 1,000 miles on it, but it's got 1,000 miles on it in first gear at 80 miles an hour. So,
Just another
you wash
reason
it
to
up
hate
for a
car
bit.
salesmen, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Another
they
reason.
were just shit. But it's just funny. You see all those different things and
Do you
all
get
the
a
different
discount for
ways.
buying a dealer demo? I didn't even know you could buy the dealer demos.
Well, a dealer demo is like 1,000 miles on it. Yeah, you can.
I guess
If
it's a discount, right?
they'll give it to you like less than the full price because an unused car that no one else is driving, but the one that they let everybody drive, they also use as loaner cars, and they have all these things like that. You can also buy a Hertz car. There's all
You can
sorts
buy
of
those
different
used.
ones.
I didn't, or not the used cars. But
Hertz
the
sells all their
rental.
cars
I
every
didn't know.
5 years. Yeah,
I
but
didn't
think
know there
about
were
it.
rentals.
I mean, I remember renting a car in Florida, and we had a case of beer, and we were drinking Michelob, driving, and throwing them over our shoulder and breaking the empties in the back seat.
Did you get your deposit
We
back? Did you get the deposit?
we did not ask for that. I don't even know if we had a deposit, but we pulled it in, left it there, and we just dropped the keys and said later and left. And it was, whatever.
What was the cleaning fee? I can't even imagine what the cleaning fee.
I don't remember. I don't remember because I borrowed my father's credit card at that point, so I don't know how that worked.
Serves him right.
Another one. Well, I was 18. You can't rent a car when you're 18.
Yeah, you can actually, but for an exorbitant insurance rate.
Well, that was
I learned that the other day.
but
The
I
insurance rate
I
was
rented
crazy.
it for my dad,
Yeah.
but I drove it.
hmm
I mean, I
I
was.
wonder
just,
if he ever figured that out. Did
I
he
was
ever
a-
figure out?
that was just another felony I committed. I'm
Did he
sure,
ever figure it out?
You know.
Did he? I guess maybe he
No.
would have had to see the charges. There's no way.
Because I ended up writing them a check for the charges.
Oh, that
'Cause I
check.
paid for it. I paid for
Oh,
the
well, that's
charges
good.
right there, and I didn't leave it. That was true. I did I mail it to them? Did I pay them? Because I didn't pay with a credit card. I said, no, I don't put it on the credit card. I'll just pay you now. And I either paid cash or I wrote them a check. But this is in Florida. I don't,
It's a lawless town anyway.
land of the brave and home of the stupid, whatever.
That's
Or
very
something
true.
like that. Maybe backwards.
Good
Yeah.
old Michelob.
Well,
Still
it can't
around.
be that bad. My brother lives down there, so I shouldn't crap on it too much,
It's nice down
And
there.
it's got some good
humid.
attributes. It's just the people aren't one of them.
We went to where did we go that one time? St.
St.
Augustine.
Augustine?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly.
I like that. We went did you ever go to Tucking Springs and we go through there?
We went there twice. Once,
Yeah.
once,
I
not twice.
love that place.
That's a great place.
That
That's
is a great place.
beautiful.
Yeah, that has
That's
nothing to do
cool.
with cars either.
No, it doesn't. There's no wheels on the rafts.
Yeah,
I guess we
No.
drove a car there. We drove the red
we did drive a
minivan.
car there.
Remember the red minivan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't it funny how you remember a car that you took on a trip?
Yeah, I'm
Interesting.
trying to remember all the different ones. It's like, wow,
There's
because
quite
I
a
rent
few.
'em different ones all the time.
We
And
took
now, like, if I want to buy
Sean's
a new car,
CRV across the freaking
I'll rent a
continent.
car for a week just to see what it drives like before I buy one.
I would rather do that.
Yeah, because then you get a feels like I really don't like the way this radio is.
You did that for like a year, I remember a while
Yeah, but I
ago.
did that was when I was going to spend 100 grand on a car, so I
Yeah,
felt
yeah.
like,
So it
I
makes
should,
sense.
you
A
know,
little preliminary
I didn't
research.
have to, but it made sense,
No, that's
But
for sure.
anyway, in the good old days, I'm
Ugh,
carless. Maybe one day I'll have a car again. You
maybe
know?
one day. Well, I think
Yeah.
that's where we're gonna wrap up here. We got only a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
And we just want to thank you guys as always for listening. There's a Q&A section in the Spotify. I saw John, shout out to John commenting again on
Yeah.
this. Yeah, it was
Oh, I
about
love that.
slapping that was started during dueling.
And
Yeah,
Anna
I
Marie
read that.
said we need to make longer episodes. So
Okay,
this is going to be 36 minutes as opposed to 34. So this is
we'll do
much
one
longer.
minute every day or every Friday, I guess, for the next
That's what we'll do.
20 Fridays. That's what we'll do.
Right. We'll have to we'll get a subscription to Zoom and then we can make it truly
We got to
longer.
do 10-hour version of this.
Yeah.
How fucking miserable would people be after that? Oh, geez.
Oh my God. A lot of coffee and bourbon.
A
That would
lot
be
of
good.
coffee and bourbon and cigarettes
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, lots of cigarettes.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, Joe, I like Lamborghinis and I like them red. Okay.
All right.